Alright guys, I'm going to walk you through the first couple of problems for each section. We're going to start on this page with equivalent fractions and common denominators. So equivalent fractions are fractions that are equal. And so to figure this out, I am going to use my fraction strips. I've got my big pile of them over here. So let's look at the first one. 4/6 is equal to. So I'm just really going to break it down to show you guys how to do it. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4. There's my 4/6. So I'm looking for fractions that are equivalent or equal to my 4/6. So I can look over here and I'm going to think about what could be equal to a sixth. Any guesses? What should we start with? I'm going to start with 12ths because I know that 6 goes into 12. So let's see. 1/6 equals 2/12. So before I put all these out, can you guys make a guess on how many 12ths we'll need for 4/6? Think about it for a minute. Okay, so it's 2, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4 of those. So I'm going to say that we're going to need probably 8. So let's double check. 12ths. It's not as easy to do this one-handed as you might think. Okay, so I'm going to get all those pushed up here, everything even. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 12ths is equal to 4/6. So another way I could have figured that out, aside from using my fraction strips, is remember how we were multiplying 4/6 times 2 over 2 because I want to get 12ths here. So 6 times 2 is 12, 4 times 2 is 8. And then for another one, we can look for something else that might fit here. So we could try using this, and I'm going to take away my 12ths because I use those, and I'm going to think about 6's. What's another number that 6 is a multiple of, or a multiple of 6? And I'm going to try thirds. Let's see. 1/3 is equal to 2/6. So I'm going to make a guess that 2/3 is going to be equal to 4/6. So I could say 2/3. Now to get this one, I'm dividing this instead of multiplying it. So 4/6 divided by 2 over 2, because 6 divided by 2 is 3, and 4 divided by 2 is 2. Okay, so our first problem, we have 4/6 is equal to 8 12ths is equal to 2/3. I'm actually only going to work through one of these. I want you guys to work through these other ones on your own. Now here for common denominators, we're going to jump down. Remember the denominator is your bottom number. The numerator is on the top, the denominator is on the bottom. So the denominator goes there. So we want a common denominator. That means we want a number that is the same on the bottom. So we have 4 and 8, and I'm going to think about how many times can 4 go into 8, or can 8 go into 4, and see if that works. And for 4 and 8, it does. Because 4 goes how many times into 8? 2. So if I take my 3/4 and I multiply it by 2 over 2, I get my 8 for the bottom, which is the same denominator as there, and 3 times 2 is 6. You can hear my dogs growling at each other in the background. They're playing. I apologize. But so we have 6 8s and 7 8s. Our denominator is the same in both of those. I'm going to go ahead and do one more that's a little different way to do it, because if we look here, 3 and 4, 3 doesn't go into 4, and 4 doesn't go into 3. So I'm looking for a number that both 3 and 4 can go into, and one of the easiest ways to do that is to multiply it by the other number. So I'm going to put 2/3, and because that number is a 4, I'm going to multiply the top and the bottom, because anything I do to the bottom I have to do to the top. 3 times 4 is 12. 2 times 4 is 8. So we have 8 12ths. And then let's see, 1/4 times 3 over 3. Again, if I do it to one, I have to do it to the other, top and bottom. So 4 times 3 is, oh, my lead died. Grab a different pencil. Quick. Okay. 4 times 3 is 12, and 1 times 3 is 3. So now I have 8/12 and 3/12, which both have the same denominator. So I've answered the problem correctly because they have the same denominator. So there is how to do the equivalent fractions, or the same in the fractions, common denominators. And then the other page I'm having you work on today is fractions in order from least to greatest. So from smallest to big. From the smallest to the biggest. So this first one, I even sketched it out for you to get started. We have 2/3, 3/4, and 1/6. So I can either use my fraction strips, or in this case, I've drawn it out. But if you do draw it out, make sure you have your right spaces, because if you get these spacings wrong, it doesn't always match up. So sometimes it's good to always double check with your fraction strips. So I have my 1/2, check, okay, and I have 2/3, which right there I have 2/3, okay, and then 3/4. So I'm actually going to grab my fourths over here. 1, 2, 3/4. So I have 3/4, 2/3, and then I'm actually supposed to have 1/6. So I'm going to pull the rest of those out. So here's my sketch, and here's my actual ones. And if I look up here at either my sketch or on my fraction strips, I can see that 1/6 is definitely smaller than 2/3 and 3/4. And I can see that 3/4 is a little bit bigger than 2/3. So actually I have them kind of in order reverse here, from small, oh, no, the right order, smallest, in between, and biggest. So that is 1/6. Whoop, wrong part. 1/6. And then I have 2/3, and then I have 3/4. So now I put them in order from the smallest to the biggest. So there's a few more problems on this page I want you guys to go ahead and work through. You can draw pictures like this somewhere over here. You've got lots of space to work. But even if you draw pictures, I do want you to double check with your fraction strips. Okay, good luck, guys. We'll take another look at this tomorrow.